The flames of faith. It was the spring of 1485, and in the heart of Seville, shadows lurked under the heavy, oppressive weight of the Spanish Inquisition. Streets once alive with diverse cultures, Christians, Jews, Muslims, now rang with whispers and wary glances, an unease simmering in the air as suspicions grew rampant. Inquisitors, robed in black, moved through the town, and the tension was enough to keep even the bravest souls silent. Ana de Morales was a young woman of 21, a member of an old family of conversos, Jews who had converted to Christianity under pressure. Despite years of outwardly practiced faith, her family's heritage still clung to them, invisible but insidious in the eyes of the tribunal. Ana had been taught the Christian doctrines and knew the rituals well, but memories of her grandmother's whispered stories and the way her father carefully tucked away a battered Torah in the attic haunted her. Their family's Jewish past was a lingering shadow, as if their souls held secrets even their bodies couldn't forget. One chilly morning, Anna's mother, Isabella, was summoned by the Inquisition. Though they had expected this day, it felt like a cruel, sudden blow. A small contingent of men arrived at their door, one of whom Ana recognized immediately, Luis de Ortega, a young man who had grown up in the same neighborhood. They had even shared glances in the market and laughed once, years ago, at a festival. But this was no festival. Luis stood behind his superior, his gaze averted, though she felt his discomfort through his silence. "I am sorry," he said quietly to Ana as they escorted her mother away. There was nothing more he could do. The days that followed were filled with silence. Anna's father, a once vibrant merchant, seemed to age by years in a matter of weeks, his beard graying, his eyes hollow. The Inquisition's investigations were notoriously severe, their methods harsh and unyielding. All they could do was wait for word from Isabella. Ana, meanwhile, would visit the church trying to find solace. But each prayer felt empty, falling flat under the weight of her unanswered questions and consuming fear. Weeks passed with no word, and Anna's dread only deepened. When she did see Luis in town, he barely looked at her, as though even acknowledging her could risk both their lives. But one evening, as she was gathering water from the well outside the city, she felt a presence behind her. She turned quickly, her heart racing, only to find Luis standing there, his face half hidden in the shadows. "Anna," he said softly, glancing over his shoulder to ensure no one was nearby. I've come to tell you about your mother. She is alive." The relief was a wave that nearly buckled her knees. "Thank you, Luis. You don't know what this means." "There is more," he continued, his voice tense. "The trial is moving quickly. The Inquisition does not plan to release her." Ana felt her breath catch. She wanted to scream, to rail against the injustice, but she swallowed it down, channeling her fury into her gaze. "There must be something I can do," she whispered desperately. Luis's eyes softened. "I wish there were more," he said. "But these are dangerous times, Ana. Still, I have some influence. I can arrange for you to see her, but only briefly and in secrecy. You must not tell anyone." Ana nodded, the gratitude in her eyes blending with the strength she'd nearly lost. She could not risk her father or her young brother Mateo in this. The stakes were too high. Luis watched her silently, perhaps seeing the iron resolve in her eyes. He nodded, then reached out, brushing her hand as if to say something more, but he stopped himself. On the appointed night, he led her through the narrow, torchlit corridors of the tribunal headquarters. The walls closed in like a tomb, and each step felt laden with the cries of the innocents who had passed through. Her mother was held in a small, dim cell. When Ana saw her, she had to fight back tears. Her mother looked gaunt and frail, but her eyes, deep and kind, held a spark that even this place couldn't snuff out. They embraced without words, letting the silence speak their sorrow, their love. It was a fragile, stolen moment, precious and fleeting. Her mother's voice was barely a whisper as she spoke to her daughter, a quiver of unbroken strength in her words. "Remember who we are, Ana. They cannot take that from us." Luis returned shortly after, his gaze averted, giving them a moment to part. Ana looked at him, a silent plea in her eyes, a fragile hope that he might be able to do more. "I wish I could help her escape," he said softly. "But they watch every move. Even speaking to you is dangerous." "I understand," Ana said. She wanted to ask him why he risked himself for her and her family, but perhaps they both understood the answer already. When she returned home, Ana didn't tell her father or brother about the visit. The risk was too great. But she set her resolve. Her mother's last words to her were a reminder that she carried not only her own life, but a legacy, one they had fought to keep even in the darkest times. As the days grew warmer, Luis continued to help in small ways, providing Ana with news when he could. Their encounters were brief, stolen in quiet moments, but they both felt the unspoken bond growing between them. Luis, too, had family with Jewish heritage, and he confided in her that he often felt like a stranger in his own skin. The Inquisition's oppressive shadow loomed over them both, binding them in shared fear and defiance. Despite the risks, Ana began to organize an escape plan for her family. She'd learned through Luis that a caravan was leaving Seville for the north, a journey fraught with danger, but offering hope of safety beyond the Inquisition's reach. She persuaded her father, though his initial reluctance weighed heavily on him, to consider the escape. Their lives in Seville were already marked, their hopes dashed. On the night of the planned escape, Ana went to meet Luis one last time. He was waiting in their usual spot by the well, his face a mix of sadness and determination. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. "Once you leave, you can't come back. The Inquisition won't stop searching." "I have no choice," she replied. "I cannot let them destroy us, Luis. My family has suffered enough." Luis looked away, pain flickering in his eyes. He reached into his cloak and handed her a small pouch. Inside was a silver pendant, engraved with a symbol she recognized from her grandmother's stories. "My grandmother passed this to me," he said. "Keep it with you. It may help guide you." "Thank you, Luis," she whispered, holding the pendant close. "I'll never forget you." They embraced, a silent exchange of promises, and when they pulled apart, Luis's face was shadowed with the knowledge that he might never see her again. As dawn broke, Ana and her family slipped out of Seville, joining the caravan that would take them north. They traveled for weeks, enduring hardships and uncertainties, but each mile brought them closer to safety. Along the way, Ana held tight to the pendant Luis had given her, a reminder of the strength she had drawn from their bond. Years later, when the Inquisition's grip on Spain finally began to weaken, Ana thought often of Luis. She knew he had stayed in Seville, quietly working against the Inquisition in whatever small ways he could. His courage had given her the hope to carry on, to believe that even in the face of darkness, compassion and resilience could endure. The pendant remained with her as she settled in a new land, a testament to the sacrifices they both had made. And as she raised her children, she told them stories of her family's legacy and the importance of faith, not the faith dictated by institutions, but the faith she had found in love, memory, and quiet rebellion against tyranny. Drag and drop your files or type, paste, and edit text here. Natural Reader is a professional text-to-speech program that converts any written text into spoken words. We have both free and paid subscriptions to our applications to meet different users' needs on different budgets. Our Plus subscription includes exclusive features and the use of Plus and LLM voices, our newest and most advanced voices. Using LLM technology, you can even clone your own voice in minutes and make it speak over 100 languages. Free users can sample the premium voices for 20 minutes per day and the Plus voices for 5 minutes per day, or use any available free voices unlimitedly. You can also listen and go with our mobile app. By using the mobile camera, you can even use our app to listen to physical books and notes. If you are interested in using our voices for non-personal use, such as for YouTube videos, e-learning, or other commercial or public purposes, please check out our Natural Reader AI voice generator web application. Our Chrome extension allows you to listen to web pages, Google Docs, online Kindle books, and emails directly from the browser. Add it to Chrome for free.